Hello everyone, this video will cover Module 7. Module 7 is the start of our planning for the first essay assignment in this class. The first essay is a process essay. So you will be writing an analysis of a process, and I'll talk about that more here in a minute. In this module, you will be completing a brainstorm and writing plan, just like you did for the illustration essay. And so this assignment is another one of those where you'll want to make sure that you go and look at instructor feedback before you continue on in the next module. So making sure that you have a good plan for your essay. Because this is the first essay assignment, you'll want to make sure that you're really paying attention to the criteria. This is one of the bigger assignments in the class, as well as one that will be worth more points. So making sure that you go back and look at the feedback from your illustration paragraph and are really getting into all of these assignments and following in the order that they're presented to you. So this is Module 7. It's not terribly long. At this point, we're just kind of giving an overview of everything. The readings are understanding process analysis. It's really important that you look through this chapter. The chapter will explain exactly what a process analysis is, and so that will help you kind of give you a basis for what you're going to be doing with the essay. The main thing I want you to remember is that you are doing a process analysis and not a process explanation. So it's not a set of instructions. It's not a cookbook. You're not going to just list the steps. Instead, you're analyzing the steps, which means that you are explaining why the steps go in a certain order. The other thing that you want to make sure you review is Chapter 4. We looked at Chapter 4 back when we were just writing a paragraph length assignment. Now we're writing an essay. And essays you approach just a little bit differently. We think of it in a little bit broader terms. And so you may want to go back to that chapter to help you with the beginning, middle, and ending of an essay. This is the process essay assignment. So the first thing you need to do is to decide what you will write about. Your topic needs to be something that you have completed in a series of steps. So a process is anything that where if you do it in this series of steps, you can explain them to me, and then I can do those same steps and come to the same result. So we have many processes that we use, and I've given you a whole bunch of examples right here, but you might do something. I've had quite a few recipes. One that's complex is important, one that takes multiple steps. Remember, you're writing a full essay out of this, and it's going to be, most students get 4 or 5 paragraphs when they're done. But you'll need a minimum of 3 paragraphs. And so if it's like mashed potatoes, you're not going to get full 3 paragraphs out of explaining how to make mashed potatoes. I've gotten a lot of oil change, tire change type essays because that is a very specific set of steps that you need to take. I get a lot of essays that are written about a process where students complete it at work, something that they do pretty often, and so they have lots of experience with it. You might think about a process that you had to learn to complete for a specific purpose. So maybe you made a hole in the drywall of one of your rooms, and so you had to learn how to patch drywall, or maybe you had to fix something that was broken, and so you had to watch some YouTube videos to figure it out, and so you learn that process. There are a lot of things that you can use for this essay, but the main thing you want to remember is that it has to go step by step, and every time you complete it, you have to do the same series of steps. Otherwise, it doesn't count as a process. So I've had some more, or I should say less concrete things that students are trying to use. And so you want to make sure that you're not making it too personal, I guess, because it's really about explaining and analyzing a series of steps so that the reader could complete them as well. Needs to be a full page long. So like I said, most students get about 4 to 5 paragraphs out of it. You have your introduction paragraph with a thesis, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. And you'll have a series of paragraphs then that explain the process and analyze the process. And the main part of that is making sure that we understand why it should be completed in that order and why it needs to why you do certain steps to begin with. So like if you're changing the oil in your car and you're using that as your process, why is it that you should have all of your tools with you before you get started? Well, the obvious thing to explain then is because once you pull the cap and the oil starts to drain, you have to make sure that you have the container to catch the oil in, and you don't want to be running back and forth and trying to find paper towels or whatever when you're making a giant mess. So just little things like that, the tips that you have learned to maybe speed up the process would be really good to include as well. That's part of the analysis. It's in chronological order, step by step, from step 1 to the last step. So making sure that you, explain it in the order that you need to complete it. And then obviously you can use first person because you have completed it. The big thing to remember with this essay is that it's not the reader completing it. So it's not the you completing it, it's I, or you can also talk about a third person, a mechanic, or a driver, or somebody else outside of you and me. So making sure that you explain, you're not telling the reader what to do, you're explaining the process, you're analyzing the process. So that more information about second person pronouns will be later in the next few modules, but for right now, just kind of keep that in mind. Most students use I. This is what I did. So once you've decided, once you've read through that, you're going to start to brainstorm. So this is same thing that we did for the illustration paragraph. You just have a different free write prompt. So you're going to do a 10-minute free write. You actually have 3 parts for this brainstorm and writing plan. So you're going to open up a Word document, type for 10 minutes on things that you're an expert at, things that you're a learner at, things that you're familiar with, all of that kind of thing. So just as many ideas as you can come up with. It's not a bulleted list, it's just a solid sheet of writing. Once you're done with that, you'll do part 2, which is where you narrow down your ideas, you choose your actual topic, you explain it, and why we should learn about it, and what are the main steps and things like that. And then the third part is your thesis statement. So the thesis statement is what is the controlling idea for your paper. That is, what is the central main point that you will be focusing on throughout this essay. It's not a very long essay, so the thesis is going to be center on why this process is so important for everyone to learn. So what is the benefit of learning this process for your just average reader? So something obvious would be like the process of learning to change your own oil is important for everyone to learn because it saves money and time. You don't have to go to a mechanic to do it. So what are some of the benefits from learning this is something you might think about. So your thesis statement is a single sentence, though. Don't do 3 sentences. These are just 3 templates that you can choose from. Whichever one kind of feels right with your topic is the one you should use. So you write 1 sentence for your thesis, you answer the questions, and then you do your 10-minute free write. Those are the 3 parts of the brainstorm and writing plan. The last thing you're going to do is how to boost your willpower questions. And so this is, again, another reading assignment. We have quite a few toward the beginning of the class, and then as we get further in the class, you'll see fewer reading assignments. So this one is a process example. So you'll be able to kind of see how that works in professional writing. So those are the 2 assignments that you'll be working on. The main thing is really giving yourself some time to think about what you want to do for your process essay. So hopefully everyone's doing well. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email, and otherwise I hope